My last shift at Batangas Provincial started the same way every graveyard shift starts. The handover notes smell like old coffee and printer toner. The hallways have that particular silence that only exists between 2 and 4 in the morning. And the only sounds are the slow beep of monitors and your own shoes on the linoleum. I had done 3 years of nights. You stop noticing most of it. What I noticed that Tuesday was the morgue log. Not because anything in it was wrong, exactly. Because something was missing. Ward 3 had lost a patient at 11:47. A 73-year-old man named Arsenio. Cardiac arrest, 3rd admission this year. His family had been called. His chart was complete, but his name was not in the morgue intake log. Arrivals are recorded within 20 minutes. Always. This is hospital policy, not suggestion. His chart said he arrived. The log said he did not. I told myself it was an error, a tired orderly, a skipped line. Maybe 4 times in 2 years I had seen a logging mistake. This felt like that. I corrected it, signed my initials, and moved on. The second missing entry was 2 nights later. A woman from Ward 5, 61, post-surgical complication. Not unusual. Her chart showed transfer to the morgue at 2:15. The log showed nothing between 2 in the morning and 6. I stood there in the nurse's station for longer than I should have, reading the same empty row twice, and then I did what I had done before. I filled it in, initialed it, moved on. The third time, I did not fill it in. Not because I had finally decided something was wrong, because when I went to the morgue to verify the arrival myself, the log inside the room showed a different number than the log outside it. 7 intakes on the wall sheet, 6 intakes on the door sheet. The same night, 1 body unaccounted for in the gap between 2 pieces of paper kept 3 meters apart. I held both logs in my hands under that buzzing fluorescent light and read them 3 times each. 7. 6. The difference was a single line that existed in one document and not the other, and neither document showed a correction or a deletion. That was the last normal thing about working that hospital. I have tried to explain what happened after that to people who were not there. The explanation never lands the way the feeling did, so I will tell you what I found, and you can decide how to hold it. I pulled the past 6 months of intake records. Both logs, cross-referenced. The discrepancy was not random. It was specific. It appeared on nights with no security guard stationed in the basement corridor, which, I learned when I checked the rotation schedules, was every Tuesday and every other Friday, without exception for the last 4 months. Whoever set that rotation had been setting it that way on purpose, or something had arranged for it to be set that way. I know how that sounds. I am not asking you to believe it yet. What I am asking you to notice is what I found when I pulled up the hallway camera footage from one of those Tuesday nights. The timestamp on the morgue door showed it opening at 3:42. There was no entry in the log for 3:42. There was no scheduled procedure. The door opened and stayed open for 6 minutes and then closed. The camera in the hallway outside showed nothing entering, nothing leaving, just the door, and then not the door, and then the door again. I watched that footage 7 times. I kept waiting for a glitch, a skip, a person I had missed. Nothing. The door opened by itself and stayed open for 6 minutes in the middle of the night and closed. I called the head of facilities the next morning. I explained what I had found. He told me the cameras in the basement had a known lag, an artifact in the compression, that the door likely opened and closed with someone in the frame, but the frame had simply not rendered correctly. He would look into it. He thanked me. He was not in the building 2 Tuesdays later when I came in for my shift. But the morgue door was open. I stood at the end of the basement corridor for what felt like a long time. The fluorescent light above me had been buzzing for 3 months, and nobody had replaced it. I could hear it. I could hear the ventilation. I could hear, faintly, the sound of the cold room running the way it always runs. A low mechanical hum like a chest, breathing just below the threshold of sleep. Then the hum stopped. Not a power failure. The lights stayed on. The ventilation kept going, just the cold room, going quiet in the middle of the night, with no reason I could name. I have replayed what I did next more times than I can count. I walked toward the open door. I think I believed, on some level, that a professional explanation existed and I simply had not found it yet. I needed to find it. 3 years of night shifts teaches you that most things have a reason, and most reasons are small and human and disappointing. The cold room has 4 bays on the left side and 4 on the right. That night, 6 of the 8 were occupied, which I knew from the log. The 7th bay, second from the end on the right, the log said was empty. The drawer was closed. I did not open it, but the floor in front of it was wet. Not the condensation you see near the seals, wet in a particular way, like something had been set down and then picked back up, an outline and moisture on the linoleum, irregular at the edges. I looked at the shape of it for a long time. It was not a puddle. It had a direction. It moved from the drawer toward the door, toward where I was standing. I could still hear no mechanical hum. The absence of it had a texture by then. The way a room after a loud noise sounds louder than silence. I became very aware of my own breathing and the smell of the place, disinfectant, and something underneath it I could not name, faintly sweet. The way fruit smells just before it turns. I did not run. I turned around and I walked to the elevator and I pressed the button and I rode it upstairs. I finished my shift. I filed an incident report. What the report said when they closed it 2 weeks later was that a seal on one of the drainage channels had degraded, causing intermittent pooling on the cold room floor. Plausible. Routine. The kind of answer that closes a file. The 7th bay has been listed as empty in every log from that night forward. I have no way to verify that. I have not gone back downstairs. What I think about on the nights I cannot sleep is not what I saw on the floor. It is the 6 minutes the door was open on that footage. 6 minutes is long enough to take something, long enough to bring it back, long enough, I think, to enjoy the space in between. I do not know what was in that 7th bay. I do not know what opened that door. I know the hum came back on when I stepped into the elevator, as if the room had been waiting for me to leave before it started breathing again.